Hello viewers, welcome to CodeForAny. Fruit markets apps inside to need to developing this here the shopping cart UI apps you need to develop here. First of all, you need to making like this here the UI, and then after the section wise you need to develop this here the cards list and to quantity plus or minus and deletes buttons you need to put here and place orders buttons also need to put here. How need to create inside the flutters? First of all, need to create here the screen inside the new folders, and we need to give this here the name cart, and now need to create here the new files cart tab screen dots. Need to like this, need to write here the titles, and we need to create here the stateful widgets, and we need to set this here the name cart tab screens, and we need to import this here the material dependency, create here the scaffold, and now need to create here the app bars. We need to develop here app bars, set here the center titles. We need to set this here the false, and we need to set here the titles text, and we need to set this here the titles here the shopping cart, and we need to set this here the styles text styles is equal to, need to set here the colors, and we need to give this here the t color white text. We need to configure here, and also need to configure this here the font size. We need to set here the 14, and also need to configure this here the font weight 500. Medium fonts we need to configure here for this UI. Font weight dots 500, and we need to like this here the configurations for this data, and like here the settings is data now, and also need to configuration here the headings. We need to set here the containers blank view. We need to set here and leading width. Need to set here the 15. Save this here for this value, and now need to configure this here the cart tabs. We need to configure, now need to go inside here the main tab view, and we need to put here the cart tab view like here, and we need to save this here this data like here, and we need to show like this here the shopping carts. We need to show like this here the card view, and then after so need to developing this here the address implementation. So need to add this here this line of code. So need to add here, we need to go against here the cart tab screen, and we need to write down here the scaffold inside the body, and we need to create here the column like here, and also need to write down here the bottom nav bars, and we need to create here the row, create here the childs, and we need to first of all the set this here the total amounts value. We need to put here, so now need to copy this value, paste this here, and to set this here the primary text, and we need to set this here the total like here's columns, and again so need to copy this value, and we need to paste this here, and to develop this here the space, and need to give this here the value of amounts dollars esclap, and we need to show this here the static value. In API integrates times need to write down here the dynamic, but now need to set here the static, and we need to semi bold font. We need to configure here for this UI, and we need to save this here and show like here's. Then after we need to create here the containers, and also need to set this here the padding const edges inset symmetric horizontal. So need to configure this here the 20, and also need to configure this here the height to need to set here the 16, and show like this here the UI bottom value need to show here. Now need to put this here the place order buttons. Need to configure, now need to use this here the round buttons, round to type here, fix this here the round button, and we need to set this here the titles place order, And on press event need to blank. Now need to write here the functions and show like this here. And now we need to give this here the width. We need to fix this here 150 and save here and show like this here. And also need to configure this here the height. We need to set this here the 44. And similar to UI, we need to setting here. So we need to decrease this here the 140 for this UI, and also decrease this here the 40. And similar to designs, we need to put this here, and we need to save this here. And then after we need to column inside, we need to develop this here the another row here, create here the childs, and again we need to set here the icons. And before icon sets, need to create here the paddings. Need to give this here the symmetric. Horizontals need to configure this here the 20, and verticals need to give this here the 8 and save this here. And then after we need to configure this here the icons of the locations. We need to given this here the dot location, and we need to give this here the location pin icon like here. Similar to designs, we need to put this here, and we need to set this here the color, the color primary, secondary text, and look like set here and show like here. Maybe need to set. And then after we need to increase this here the 15 is good here, and show like here. Then after we need to set this here the some width space. Need to give this here to set this here the 15. And now paste this here. And then after we need to set this here the creating here the buttons for the change address buttons. Need to put here. First of all, we need to create here the text button, and we need to on press event like here. And then after we need to write down here the text property, and we need to give this here the titles, change address, and we need to capitals and C also capitals like this. We need to write down here. Set here the style, text styles, set here the colors blue. We need to configure similar to designs blue colors. Then after the font size, we need to give this here the 12 regular font. Need to configure here for this UI to set here wrong font size. Save here and show like this here for these buttons. Need to developing this here and need to set here. So remove this here the 8 and show like this designs. Maybe no need here the verticals because already take buttons. That's why I need to clean here. Otherwise need to give this here the 8 is good. Now we need to create here the expanded icons. We need to set here for the UI. We need to set this here the text property. Again, we need to copy here, paste this here, and look like this set here for this data. Need to set here. Now need to give this here the fixed address. We need to now put here. Then after we need to convert into the dynamic, and we need to set here the primary text, primary t colors, primary text. Set here the font weight. Need to set here the normals and show like this here the UI. Increase this here the font size 14 is good maybe. And we need to set here the alignments, text alignment, set here the center. Like we need to configurations for this data and save this here. Maybe decrease this here. Need to set this here the 8 is good. Not center. We need to set here the left like this. And this is are the creatings. Now we need to developing this here the sections. We need to develop. Before we need to creating here the sections, we need to write down here the list view need to develop here. expanded, extended. To use this here the list view with builders, and we need to develop this here the context, indexed, and we need to set this here the returns, and we need to call this here the containers. Here the decorations, box decorations. We need to set this here the color. Need to configure for these colors. We need to given here colors prompts, and we need to set this here the value of colors like here, and semicolons. We need to set here the padding, cost, pages inset, symmetric, horizontals. We need to configure this here the value of the 20, and need to give this here the height fix. Need to set here the 40 like here, and then after we need to create here the child, and again we need to copy this here the change address text. Need to paste this here, and image we need to give this here the font in medium. To set here the font weight 500, and we need to give this here 30 color primary text, and remove this comma. Like this value we need to configuration for the here for this UI, and show like this here the change address. Need to change this here the vegetables. Now need to set here the pics like here, and also need to give this here the alignment dot centers left, and show like this similar to UI. We need to making like this here the vegetables, and we need to give this here the this builders length item counts. We need to give this here the 2, like we need to configure for this UI and to show like this here, and then after we need to draw here the vegetable cells. We need to develop here, need to creating before here the vegetable cells. We need to making here the inside here the another list view. We need to develop here, need to wrap with here the need to maybe write down here the wrap with here the column is good like here, and minimum axis size we need to set here the minimum, and cross axis also need to set with here the start like here. So need to configurations, and then after so need to configures here for another's list view with separators. We need to develop here, and we need to configure this here the context indexed, and to return this here the row here the childs and semicolon. Now need to develop this here the separators context indexed, and we need to write down here the divider, set here the color t, not t colors. Need to use this here the color black 26, and heights also need to configure this here the height. We need to set this here the 1, and we need to configurations here the pics. We need to give this here the 2 like here's, and make sure we need to configure here the pages never scrolls, otherwise we need to get here the errors. And then after we need to configurations are the needs here the sync wrap. Need to set here the true like this value, and then after we need to creating here the vegetable cells. Need to develop here for this UI. Need to or some previous video to private screens inside to copy this cells row. Need to copy, and we need to create inside the carts. Need to create here the cart row, cart underscore row dot dots, and to paste these codes and to change this here the class name. Need to set here the cart row, and we need to save this here. And again we need to copy here this data of the favorite tables. We need this here the order array, copy here, and we need to go inside here the card table screen, and we need to paste this here this code, and price and value also need to put this here like this sets here, and we need to save this here. Now we need to go inside here this screen, and we need to replace this here cart row, and to pass this here the objects we need to pass here or the order array dot length, and maybe need to remove here because here the more list, that's why I need to clean, and need to set here like here, give this here only 2, and to set this here the configuration. First of all need to get this here the object is equal to, need to write down here the order array and index of value like here's, and on brace events also need to configure here like here, and we need to save this here and show like this here the data for this UI, and we need to make sure so need to configurations are the needs for this UI. Need to give this here the padding const edges inset symmetric verticals. We need to configurations are the 8. We need to needs for the verticals look like this here the show, and also this card row need to set here the paddings also here the verticals. Need to configure here the 8, and similar to UI maybe increase this here the 12 is good, and show like this here the data for here. And then after we need to same as we need to UI making here the cart UI, need to put here, need to remove this here the this UI inside here the rating, no needs for the cards. We need to clean here the rating, ignore ratings. We need to row, we need to remove here for this value, and save this here and show like here. And then after we need to set this here the brackets, and we need to put this here the buttons of the deletes of the these lines need to set here. Also we need to show this here the price. We need to cut this value, and we need to paste here for this price and show like here the price, and we need to remove here the add buttons, no needs. We need to clean this here the buttons like here, and maybe we need to remove here, and we need to titles after the give this here the delete buttons. We need to also show this here, create here the icon button and on brace event, and we need to make here the icon widgets. We need to set here the icons dot delete, and need to forever need to show like this here the UI outlet round shape, maybe delete is good. Words like this. Set here the color, T color, primary text. Need to configure for this UI and show like this here the delete buttons. We need to show here, and then after we need to create here the column, and we need to give this here the cross axis alignment. Set here the start, and again we need to copy this value, paste this here, and we need to save amounts need to show here. Now need to give this here the static value for this UI. Need to API call times need to show this here the $1 saved like this show, and we need to set this here the green color, or T color, primary colors, and show like this here. So need to set this here the 10 and remove here the regular fonts and show like this here the UI. Maybe you need here the 12 is good, or this UI. And we need to remove this here the titles of these amounts. Maybe need to create here the row is good. Maybe paste this here. So need to cut here, remove here, and we need to set this here the right here the expand widget and show like here's increase this here the space and show like this here this data. Need to convert into the inkwell is good because need to on tab event and set here the child, and now fix this here the spacing issue. Now we need to creating here the this main axis alignment. Need to set here the end because need to this portions need to need this here this value, this these parts we need to set here, remove this space and show like this here the plus or minus. Add buttons need to put here to set here the 13 here 13 and show like this here the small need to set here. Then after we need to creating here the amounts of the value. We need to give this here, need to copy these styles and we need to paste here these styles and we need to create here the decorations, text decorations. We need to set here the text decoration through the line over lines. We need to give this here and we need to show like this here the amounts. We need to set here the price. We need to fix this here this value now 161 17 maybe 19 and show like this here the UI, not over the lines. Need to line through years and we need to set this here the secondary text and regular fonts and show like this here this data. You need to set here, need to configure for this value and show like this here. Similar to designs, we need to make like this here the UI. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new user, so please subscribe my channels and press the notification bell icon. You can get every new video notifications and awesome content. If you have any questions, so please write down the comment sections. I will help you and sort out your issue. Everyone have a nice day. Goodbye and take care.